Do you regard black magic as being purely fictitious, or is there some truth in it?
Some truth. 100% truth. There is nothing fictitious about black magic, in any way whatever. It is a fact. It is a fact which has existed for several thousand years. I mean, when we talk about black magic, we are talking about Satanism, necromancy, alchemy, witchcraft, the worship of Satan, the worship of dark forces, whether it's voodoo, juju, whether it's something practiced in the Western world or the Eastern world, whether it's easily defined or not easily defined, the order of the left-hand path, the following of this, following of that. It is basically the worship of the force of evil as embodied by Satan, Lucifer, the prince of darkness, and their legions, and so on. In a very simple sense, of course, it goes much more deeply than that. It is a fact. It is a desperately dangerous fact. It does exist. It exists around us today. Satanic ceremonies will be happening in Britain tonight. Very definitely. Ask any priest, ask any member of the forces of law and order, and they will tell you that Satanism as such, it's there, and it has been for thousands of years.
Hey guys, it's KJ from The Scariest Movie Ever. And indeed, if we look close enough in the world around us, we can see the fallen are already here. I'll be showing some examples of that in this video, but before we do, I wanted to cover this right here as well. Just to get a better understanding, right, of the way that the Luciferians, the occultists at the top of the pyramid, if you will, you know, how they think, how they're looking at this life. And when I show you this 10-point plan, it's going to be, it'll be obvious to you that we're living in it and have been for a long time. Alice Bailey's 10-point plan to destroy Christianity. Alice Bailey is known as one of the founders of the New Age movement. She was a writer, occultist, and theosophist who lived between 1880 and 1949, and she's the person who's known for creating the term, quote, New Age in her books, which mostly focus on the subject of theosophy. Theosophy is an occult movement originating in the 19th century with roots that can be traced to ancient Gnosticism. The term theosophy is derived from the Greek theos, God, and Sophia, wisdom. It's generally understood to mean divine wisdom. The international New Age movement originated among independent theosophical groups. Alice Bailey is known as one of the prophetesses of the New Age movement. She's the author of books such as The Externalization of the Hierarchy, which promoted demonic and anti-Christian agenda. Her teachings and writings are viewed as foundational and authoritative within the New Age movement. She described the majority of her work as having been telepathically dictated to her by a master of wisdom or a spirit entity identified as Jewel Cole. So here we are channeling demonic spirits. Seen this before, especially in the alien disclosure movement. We've been seeing some of this with the channelers. Alice Bailey's writings are so revered and authoritative to such an extent that her New Age views and philosophies have a social, spiritual, and political impact on, here it is, politicians, various nations, and also the United Nations. Alice Bailey also founded the Lucis Trust, which was formerly known as Lucifer Publishing Company, in 1922, and it's alleged that her organization may have influence within the United Nations. I have no doubt about that. And the New Age, of course, waters down the gospel, perverts the gospel, and it just causes confusion. And the New Age would tell you that fallen angels are guiding spirits. You know, they can channel guiding spirits. They're friends. They're helping humanity. While the Bible tells us otherwise, the exact opposite. You know, these are enemies. These are the wicked ones. One of the main agendas of the New Age movement is to become the dominant religion or lifestyle within the entire world. Yep. Therefore, in order for New Age philosophies to become dominant, then all other religions, especially Christianity, must either be destroyed or become less of a spiritual influence within society and in the individual lives of people. It's from this desire to see the dominance of the New Age movement that Alice Bailey allegedly wrote her 10-point plan and charter to destroy Christianity so that New Age philosophies may become there it is, one world religion for the world. So let's check out these 10 points right here. Check this out. First and foremost, take God and prayer out of the education system. Certainly they've done that a long time ago, and look at what our education system has turned into now. You look at the kind of things they're trying to convince little ones of, altering their identity, changing their sexuality, even going into surgery and things like this. And this is, this is just an example of how incredibly perverted that this education system has become. And it's a Rockefeller system in the beginning anyway, and that's why it matches up so closely with the prison system. You're locked down, you eat your meals together, you get a little bit of playtime, a little bit of recess time, time out of the cage, etc. But you guys get this. Also, you reduce parental authority over the children. Absolutely, they've done that, right? I mean, a lot of the children are out of control. In fact, now we have a whole generation of iPad kids, right? Children being raised on technology. And then you see that reflected in how they can no longer tell time. They have a hard time speaking clear sentences, etc., right? You also destroy the Judeo-Christian family structure or the traditional Christian family structure. Hello? Yeah. See this all the time. It reminds me of how, this is just one example, but how politics over the last few years, when the holidays come around, suddenly we see all these stories of politics and families arguing and splitting during the holiday seasons because they have different political views. That's just one example of that. Also, if sex is free, then make taking your own children away, removing your children legal, and make it easy. Well, we have a pill now you can buy, right? I'm not sure how much it is. You get a pill you can buy now, and you can take it after you've had intercourse with somebody, and then it will do that job for removing that child, if you know what I mean. They also say she also says to make divorce easy and legal, free people from the concept of marriage for life. Another one, y'all. Look at what's happening with these younger generations and dating, and you just see what a train wreck that is. I've shared examples of that before. The birth rate is plummeting all over, but especially here in America. And people just aren't, they're not having relationships anymore. They're having relations through technology. They'll meet up for half an hour or however long, and they'll have relations, but there's no more relationships, Also to make homosexuality an alternative lifestyle. That was done a long time ago. We already know. That's all over the place. Debase art, make it run mad, and that's speaking to modernism or modernity. And this is why we see some of the just disgusting artwork, crazy artwork. And I've shown you examples throughout the years. You can go look some up, but just insane artwork that isn't really art, right? It's usually really perverted, crazy, weird, but that's modernity. Destroying all the beautiful art from the past and replacing it with nonsense, right? Crazy things. Take a look at the Martin Luther King statue they made a while back that looks like a man's parts, if you know what I mean. Just as an example. Also, she says to use media to promote and change mindsets. Totally. Yes, we know. Seen all those videos where they're like, this is dangerous for our democracy, and it's all these different local news stations, and there's like 50, and they're all on the same page there, right? And then, of course, here to create an interfaith movement. I just covered that in my last video. That's already happening. Chrislam, they're pulling Christianity, or Catholicism, if you will, into Islam, and these are the beginnings of that final one-world religious system, as we see. And it says to get governments to make all these laws and get the church to endorse these changes. So there's that. These are the 10 points, the 10-point agenda by Alice Bailey to destroy Christianity and let New Age run free. So they recently had Coachella, which is one of these massive musical events where oftentimes people are not of sober mind. And they're in front of these huge screens and these enormous visuals. And in this case, it has to do with an artist named Anima. And this is his project called Eden, Aeden, where they actually just performed at Coachella. I've got some footage to show you from that. But just taking a look at this, you can see the giants. That's one thing that's constantly in all of this man's performances are the giants. Also a lot of transhumanism type of symbolism as well. So, and I've noticed that, and he's been around for a while, I've covered him in the past, but he's constantly using a scriptural, biblical type language and kind of, merging that into his work, where he's constantly portraying the fallen angels and giants and transhumanism and even more, right? So, and these are very popular. He's very popular. And he even performed at the Sphere not long ago in Vegas. I think I showed you some of that footage. But the footage is quite startling. And it's when I see it and I see all the people cheering in the front, and again, understanding that many of them are not of sober mind at these events, raising their fists and cheering and screaming, at these visuals and these giants, some of these horrifying images that come through. It's like, wow, do they even understand? Do they even realize what they're doing? This is one of those examples of where if you look closely, you can see the fallen ones are already here and already being worshipped. Now, it's not quite the same as what's coming. I think this is just a preparation, but I know we're coming in a time, certainly during the tribulation period, where these things will be here. These things will be walking amongst us. They will be in the, quote, flesh. Still, it's going to be its own kind of psychological operation, if you will. But certainly there will be real beings, as the Bible tells us, as in the days of Noah. So right now, these are just hints, glimpses, of what's out there and what's amongst us, in a sense. It really is disturbing when you realize what's happening at these places and how the spiritual realm is absolutely real, but shielded by so many people's eyes and their thoughts. They just can't connect with that. But when I always have seen this type of footage from these different music festivals and whatnot, it's really disturbing. I see the fallen ones' spirits right here being worshipped by the people, and most of the people at these get-togethers are not of sober mind. And when you're not of sober mind, it lowers your defenses. You're easier to access by the spirits, and I don't mean the good spirits at all. I mean the bad ones. So it's its own church, it's its own worship service, and all of it to these demonic fallen entities, and to a lot of the wicked realities that are coming our way, like the transhumanism. And they also they also managed to throw in the Mother Goddess in there as well. So, which actually brings me to this story right here. Ancient Bible story about fallen angels resurfaces as UFO disclosure reaches tipping point. So here we go. It's getting closer. But check this out. I thought this is really interesting. One of the leading voices pushing for UFO disclosure has made a shocking connection between an ancient biblical text and the existence of alien life. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida recently posted 2 cryptic messages on X. One, where she was telling people to read the Book of Enoch, and the other, she was displaying the 15th century painting nicknamed the Madonna of the UFO. It's the latest reference the chairwoman of the House Oversight Committee's hearings on UFOs has made to the Book of Enoch while speaking out about extraterrestrials and alien spacecraft. I just find it really interesting that they're starting to turn people towards the Book of Enoch. And we are seeing a lot of what happened in the book of Enoch and what it's spoken of taking place in our life right now. But check this out. Many of you are going to recognize Ingersoll Lockwood as the company where some books came from that were related to Trump, potentially many years ago. That's a whole other rabbit hole there. But check this out. The modern entity, Ingersoll Lockwood Inc., directs users of its reading library to read the Book of Enoch as a required homework assignment under a section labeled U.S. Space Force. This recommendation appears on the company's website, which also hosts the 19th century novels of the original author, Ingersoll Lockwood, known for works featuring the character Baron Trump. So like I said, many of you know that rabbit hole. I've been down it myself. It's very interesting. There's also Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey, and there's also The Last President from that company. But I find it interesting. We see Anna Paulina Luna directing people to the Book of Enoch. We also find Ingersoll Lockwood all about the giants, right? All about the giants, all about the Nephilim, all about what happened, what they taught humanity, and the rest. Here we are, folks, on the precipice. Very interesting. And speaking of the fallen and the Nephilim, I wanted to show you this image here. If you look on the left, that's Thoth. So we're dealing with the ancient Egyptians, the fallen empire of the fallen ones. And on the right side, we're looking at Quetzalcoatl. So on the left, you've got Thoth, and he's remembered as having taught the Egyptians all the same things that Quetzalcoatl on the right is remembered as having taught the Mesoamericans. So both of these figures related to the fallen angels taught their people the same things, namely astronomy, timekeeping, writing, mathematics, medicine, and social order. And there's another way that you can just look around in the world today and you can see the fallen here amongst us. So of course we see this during these music festivals and the giants and all the crazy animation they have as one representation. But another one is this right here. If you didn't know, there's temples also going up all around America right now, worshiping these fallen entities, these fallen angels. And this is an example right here. This is one of the largest, or the largest, from what I understand, statue out in Texas now. And of course, back to the fallen angels. And you've seen other examples of this as well. I've shown the ones I find, throughout the years in videos of some of these massive temples and statues, all to fallen deities. So just interesting. We're living in that time where this stuff is really starting to grow. We're being told to check out the Book of Enoch and even more. So yes, it is that time. I actually have a clip I want to share here from, of all people, Marilyn Manson. But, if anybody's totally sold out to that satanic system, he is. And, these people operate in very much of a hive mind, I believe, a hive mind of the devil, or of the cube in some cases. But I think it's important to listen to what he says. A lot of it has to do with how humanity is changing. And I've shown you that, how suddenly it's like people just don't look the same anymore, especially a lot of these celebrities and more stories coming out about people shifting in public and whatnot. But check this message out from the Satanist Marilyn Manson about what's happening in humanity right now.
Guess who showed up in Paris for a fashion week? Of course, Marilyn Manson, because this is a disclosure. They are telling you, we are turning you into Satanists. That's all what this is. End of Christianity, it's over. We want you all be Satanists. That's why they are even merging machine with a human. I just want you to think, what kind of future do you want to have for your children? Do you really agree with this? Do you? This is exactly how they want everybody to look like. Transhumanism. That's what it is. It's present. It's here. This is a great story. Transhumanism, choking on jewelries, dead eyes. Look, transhumanism, again, plastic surgeries. Black eyes, that's a narcissism, when person is disconnected from higher self. All these demons walking all over. And cult, they are literally telling you, you live in a cult of Satanism, blinded by money. That's what they are showing you.
Me as someone with a facial difference, I've never seen myself represented in the fashion industry as much as I've embraced it. I haven't ever really felt embraced, and I think the fun elements, the inclusivity and the lack of rules has been quite lost in fashion. And so for me it's so important to have brands like Lucky and Football reinforcing and changing what it means to be in fashion. Hi.
There is great deception that's upon us right now, and even greater that's coming. All kinds of madness, as the supernatural kicks in and becomes normal during the coming years, the tribulation years. But watching those videos about humanity changing, and I've done some videos on that myself, reminds me of this right here. This is a clip from one of the latest videos from that person that we call Kanye West, that thing that we call Kanye West. A newer video, and you can see here it's all about the aliens amongst us. They look like humans, right? So it's like he's being uncovered as the alien amongst us, and this is a really a popular trend I'm seeing in a lot of media, pushing this idea out there, even in the mainstream and even through Congress and the Senate. This idea that there's hybrids that are walking amongst us. So again, man, it's just another example of the world's being set up for just a great deception. And a lot of humanity is already in a perfect place for that. They've been kind of programmed out of their minds, and if it's not just the programming, it's the overuse of chemicals, So we're seeing this in a lot of different states, especially big cities. A lot of people are finding themselves in this condition right here, completely out of it, unfortunately. They're riddled with demonic activity, man. These people need Jesus. They need to be saved. They need to be cleansed. It also reminds me, somebody just recorded this doomsday truck driving through New York City, appropriately enough. You can see it right here. And we also have segments of our society, of humanity, who have been programmed out of their minds. Really, triple P, a perfectly programmed person. They don't even know they're human anymore, and that goes back to this overall transhuman situation that's happening in the world today, right now. We see it manifesting in a lot of different ways, and this is one of them right here. You have human beings out here that are convinced they're animals now, right? So we've seen that programming coming in for the last few years, and here's an example of that. So just kind of pulling all the pieces together, I discovered something else I'm going to share with you here, and I think it's fascinating because we're watching that final beast system being put into place every day, every week. We're finding new information, and I try to share what I can find. But a big one is the data centers. The data centers have been a really big issue here in America. They're showing up all over the place. The people don't want them. They're fighting back, but they're still coming in. Of course, it has to do with money. I believe at the end of the day, people getting a couple extra bucks, right, to sell out their fellow citizens. But these data centers, they have to have them for the final system. It's going to be, they're going to utilize them to run all these different programs, and VR will be connected, the robots will be connected, the different 5G and 6G, all of this. So they need the data centers, and they're already ruining the environment around them. But I found, pieces of this final system falling into place, these puzzle pieces falling into place, because now they're going to have the robots guard these data centers. Check this out.
Boston Dynamics just landed a major new client, AI data centers. Some of these facilities are the size of 4 Central Parks, and companies are pouring $700 billion into building them out. Securing that much physical infrastructure is a real problem. So firms are deploying Spot, a 4-legged robot that doesn't just patrol. It conducts industrial inspections, detects leaks, maps facilities, and monitors construction, all without a break. One unit runs between $175,000 and $300,000. Boston Dynamics estimates it pays for itself within 2 years. This isn't science fiction, it's facilities management, just with a robot doing the rounds.
So we see it all coming together, and if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you can see how all these puzzle pieces are starting to form and come together. Prepare for the Book of Enoch. Read the Book of Enoch. Prepare for the fallen. As I said, what's the stage, the 5th age of man that humanity's moving into is going to be supernatural and paranormal will be normal. It'll be the worst time ever, and you don't have to face it, okay? Really, I hope you'll choose Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, because there is plenty of fearful material here, and that I put out, at times, but it's not to scare you and then run away. You have to give people an answer. You've got to give them an out or an option, and Jesus Christ is your ultimate option, the best option, the number one option, the only option to escape this system, and also while you're in this system to be able to understand and see, and to not be so easily deceived as we see. Man, elements of humanity are in a perfect place to be taken over right now. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And I would argue that most of them do not have Jesus. If you have Jesus, you have your protection. Again, you get the eyes to see, the ears to hear. You can have real clarity in this deceptive age. So again, I hope you'll choose Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior. And if you haven't, or if you have already, there's no fear. We can look at this stuff all day and not be afraid, but it does make you want to warn others. That's one thing. That's one of the fruits. If you really care about people and you see all these things, you want to warn them and let them know what's coming. So we know what's coming for this world. It's nothing good. So please trust in Jesus. Again, there's no fear when you're in Christ. I can look at this stuff all the time, and I'm not scared of anything, man. I only reserve some fear for the Lord. That's it. Otherwise, none of this scares me. You're in the beast system. The only way truly out, for your spirit, when your flesh passes, is through Jesus Christ. So please secure that for yourself, and I hope you will. But that's it, guys. That's about what I wanted to show you in this video. So as always, man, I thank you very much for watching it, and I truly hope you're taking care of yourself out there. And otherwise, man, Lord willing, I'll see you guys in the next videos soon. So again, thank you very much, and take care of yourself.
It's not Catholicism at large, but the Vatican in particular, that's putting out encyclicals and edicts talking about our space brothers and baptizing our space brothers, and the revelation of our communication with ETs throughout history requiring a rewriting of the Gospels. And anybody who does not accept the new Gospels, I kid you not, this is what they say, must be considered a heretic by the Catholic Church. So we have NAR, right? And then we have Mormonism, and then we have Catholicism, Islam. Most people don't know that Islam has an ET eschatology as well, too.
Wow.
That's one of the aspects of even the black cube of Saturn, Mecca, that they all, same black cube that's on the Kabbalistic Jews, Talmudic Jews' head, same black cube that Trump has everywhere, same black cube that's at the UN and their spiritual whatever worship center at the UN, same black cube that's in Transformers. It's in everywhere, this black cube of Saturn, Saturn being Lucifer, right? That's an etymology of Lucifer is Saturn. Where was I going with that? Black cube, Islam. They have even a quasi ET eschatology as well too, that even this black cube is ancient tech, and it's going to like grow arms and legs and rise up and do whatever and lead the masses.